Hello, hashtag Verse TV family, and welcome. It's week 242. I didn't write it down there, so I almost didn't remember, but I got it. Yes, 242. Welcome, welcome, and love and everything. Thank you all so very much. We are so happy to be here and just it's nothing but love. So let's go ahead and I'm Aaron Mack. And yes, I think I said that. AARONMCK. Yes. So for the first start off randomly generated question, we'll do two presses. If not, then four, then two. But I generally just go with the start. So, have you ever? Oh, stop it! Why do these random questions have to be so marvelous? Have you ever questioned your sexuality? That's a deep question. Well, that's a deep subject. Have you ever had somebody make that pun? Well, that's a deep topic. I I don't think it's that I've questioned it. I think it's that I wanted it to be different. So I was hoping that it could be something different, and I was striving to make it something different. But that's not what the fates saw fit to do. So that's okay. That's okay because I love me. And I actually, who is that? Haley Steinfeld, I think. I actually love that song. I love May. And you know what's so interesting though? Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but it's such a powerful song with such a powerful chant to uh, state, I love May, but she's talking about masturbation. It's like, okay, cool. But yeah, I take that side out of my mind and I just love what the song represents without it being that. And as far as questioning my sexuality, again, it's not that I've questioned it, but I did want it to be something different. I tried. I, oh my gosh. Anybody who can go all the way back here with me, I love you forever. I try to say goodbye and I choke. I try to walk away and I stumble. Though I try to hide it, it's clear. My world crumbles when you are not near. You know, I I'll say it. It's Macy Gray. And I remember when she first came out, she was doing something different and doing something that is different. And I am going to how many minutes? 7? Yeah, I have enough time. Really quickly. I remember my friend and I used to in high school talk about how she is the worst singer. Like, that is so awful. She sounds like she has 10 frogs in her throat, blah, blah, blah. As an adult now, looking back on it, I get it. She was doing something different. She had a sound that when you heard her voice on the radio, you knew it was her. I get it. I get it. From a production and promotion standpoint, that makes sense. I get it. So my song this week is none other than The Marvelous. My new song, my new-ish song this week is none other than September 2013. I'll just say 2013 song Rootin' for My Baby or Rooting for My Baby by Miley Cyrus on her Bangers album. And that was, as far as And I was talking to an Uber driver about this who's also like a 93 baby. I think Miley Cyrus is 93. And I was like, yeah, I was so strongly team Miley Cyrus for that Bangers album. I did not like the single. I did not think um, that song was cute. The one that's like on MTV, she did the twerking. It's like, oh my gosh, it was so horrible. How'd you twerk? It's like I didn't love that song. Whatever the other one was that she had the music video like the Brady Bunch. I didn't love that. But everything else on that album, I love. That album is so good. And then she changed her sound very deliberately after that album. And I remember being very disappointed in that choice of going in that direction. And I was talking with the Uber driver about it, and I was like, yeah, I used to think that she was just like down for the cause with that sound of music, and that was just her. But now I see it wasn't her, and it was somebody else, and whatever. And the Uber driver was like, a fellow 93 baby. He was like, no, she was young. We were young at that time, and she's entitled to change and grow. And I was like, he shut me up. I was like, you know what? That's right. You're right. She was young at that time. Y'all were young at that time. And you have a right to grow and evolve. And I love her song, Flowers. I do. I do. But I particularly love Rooting for My Baby to this day because it's a song about rooting for your baby. Um, when I know and I can tell it's not your best side. No, good morning, good day. Anyway, but and I stand by this. In my humble and honest opinion, Miley Cyrus is one of the best vocalists of the crop who was born post 90s. I give it to Miley Cyrus, I give it to Tiffany Evans, and I give it to Ariana Grande. In my opinion, of the 90s female singers, like those are the three that give it to me the most. Like that's the 90s female singers vocal trifecta, vocal trinity. The, and I feel awful saying that because compared to Whitney, Selena, Mariah, it's like, not really. But I think they are exceptional. And also, singers don't always show everything that they can do because, particularly today, people get caught in a sound and they have to stick with their sound and stuff like that. But the times that I've heard Miley and Ariana and Tiffany Evans singing outside of their sound, in addition to their sound, though, they are exceptional, period. Anyway, all right, hashtag Verse TV family. And please, please do check out my albums, my EPs on SoundCloud at Aaron Mack, AARONMCK. Check them both out. First album's in. I'm testing myself on the fly with this. My first album is entitled "Patience Is a Virtue," the Aaron Mack EP, and the second album is entitled Selfie, No Filter. I got it. Yay. All right. So I will see you all on the other side of this um, video. So the first topic is coming up. and that is share, subscribe, share again, and please click like. And thank you very much. All right. 242. Hashtag PageShoreTV241 at Jay Shetty. Hashtag VerseTV241B.
One of the biggest lies that we've been told about love is that you'll find it when you're least expecting it. And by the way, if that happened to you, that's beautiful. Like, that's awesome. I love that for you. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think that lie keeps people single because it stops people from making effort. Effort working on themselves, effort working on finding the right person, effort on creating love. And I think the reason why that lie keeps people single the most, and I was talking about this with a friend just yesterday, we were talking about the idea of how you don't stop loving when you move in. You don't stop loving when you get married. You don't stop loving when you've been together for 10 years and you're celebrating an anniversary. It takes constant effort. So now we're saying, oh, well, it's not going to take effort to find love, which means we're training ourselves to think it's not going to take effort to stay in love. One of the biggest lies that we've been told about love is that you'll find it when you're least expecting it.
All right now, Jay Shetty. So, yes, and I still love Destiny's Child's song Love. I do. From 2004, their album Destiny Fulfilled. I love that song Love. And I'm not going to lie, it starts off with Beyonce singing about how she had given up on love. For a real man, I had given up on love. I didn't think a good man existed in this world. I was tired of searching because relationships I dealt with in the past couldn't fathom being monogamous. But when I least expected it, I found you. And because of you, I know how it feels to be. Oh, I love that song. Yes. And I I don't want to say I miss, but I do miss Beyonce also using that lower register when she sings. But I get it. I get it. I get it. And I love that song. And for the longest time, oh, for the longest time, yes, Billy Joel, but for the longest time, I would that would be one of those songs in my mind. You know, that and also Katy Perry's song Movies, if it's not like the movies. But I would be exactly like Jay Shetty said, and that I'd be like, if it's not perfect from the very beginning, that means it must not be meant to be. And I guess I have to, and the gay dating coach posted something cute about this earlier today. But I was like, I guess I have to just not look for love and maybe I'll find it eventually or something. And then it'll just be perfect in magic and just work like magic. And goodness. That goes back to me and how I used to. I used to think, and no, I'm not going to go into R. Kelly's I Believe I Can Fly. I used to think that I could not go on and life is nothing but an awful. Anyway, but yes, I used to think that if I did a great job with oral sex on the first night, that he would stick around and love me. He was supposed to love me. He was supposed to love me. He loved me. And just like Jay Shetty said, it works for some. And for those who shutting your eyes off and hoping for love and wow, it just appears. That's marvelous. Same with me and the oral sex on the first night. Never worked for me. Never, ever. worked for me, but it works for some. So cool that it worked for them. All right. My closing thought on it is true love can manifest unpolished. All right, comments? Are we ready for the next topic? Not yet. Well, please get ready so we can hurry up. Okay. All right. Yes, you have enough time to run to the restroom right quick and then Okay, you're back. All right. Thank you. All right. Hashtag Verse TV family. Let's do it. Hashtag attraction trigger at Mike Machero. Hashtag Verse TV 241C.
Welcome to I Can't Believe That Happened Dating Women Edition. Everyone in my evangelical heterosexist environment told me that the way to trigger attraction toward women was to date women. So eventually I did end up dating a friend of mine. This would be attempt number 2. She was super cool. We've been dating for a few months, and one night we were making dinner in my kitchen and she told me that she loved me. And I knew in that moment, I can't do this anymore. Because for me, I was genuinely trying to see if some kind of attraction toward her would trigger and somehow fire off. Be straight like her! Which sounds absurd, but the cognitive dissonance is real. I can be straight. Is that straightness? But at that moment, it became very clear I am not experiencing that. And for someone to be in such an incredibly vulnerable and beautiful experience and be alone, I was like, I can't do this to her. So I broke up with her. The irony is not lost on me. So here's the deal. If you're somehow a straight person watching this, and you know gay people, let me tell you right now, despite what your pastor says, do not tell them to date somebody of the opposite sex. That will only create 2 victims and nobody wins. Welcome to I Can't Believe That Happened Dating Women Edition.
He's absolutely right. And yes, that would create 2 victims. And dare I say that a little piece of misogyny plays a role in this. Misogyny is in everything. It's in everything. But a little piece of misogyny to the extent that we don't mind telling a man who's same gender loving, gay, to just go ahead and date a woman, you know? And you two can find your way. Oh my gosh, I have so much to say on this topic. Ugh. Ugh. I got that from Doja Cat. Anyway, but yes, I agree, but it's tough, especially to the extent that I remember back in the day when I dated the woman I always say is the woman I would have married if I was a heterosexual man. I was genuinely into her. I was, you know, and it's not like I'm genuinely into. I'll leave it at I was genuinely into her. I was. And I genuinely wanted us to work. I think it is like I was talking with a family member of mine about it not too long ago. And I do think it is for the best that it didn't work. Nevertheless, I was sincere in my attempt to have us work, you know? And again, it's good that we didn't. It's fine that we didn't. And I remember this dude, speaking of the church, I met a man at church, you guys. Oh my gosh. And he was so beautiful and he was so thick and just, y'all know I love him thick. He was short and thick too. Anyway, but like short, not sloppy thick, but just short and, you know, built. And he went with our church to a church outing. And he actually, at the church outing, he was so brave. He was so brave. And if anyone from the church, that church, actually remembers that time, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. But that's also because he was openly gay, which I was just too afraid of. I was afraid at that time, but he was brave for being out. And I didn't know he was out at the time that he was cozying up to me. I still remember, oh my gosh. And part of the reason that I get so I get so emotional, baby, is because I'm thinking about how it was some trip and we were just walking around DC and how free I was and how much I loved going on long walks. And I'll get back there. I'm going to get back there. Yes. Yes. Positive thoughts, positive work. I go to the gym, y'all, every week. And, but yeah, he was cool. And what I say is, church, don't make people miss good potential matches just because you're and I get it. You're following doctrine or whatever, but don't do that to people. Don't do that. Don't do that to people. And I will say, maybe he wasn't the one for me. Maybe, well, no, I know the answer to that question. Anyway, but I will say, and no, I don't even. If things weren't as negative as they were, and if I was also in a different place because I was not ready yet. I was still in my stage of throwing dudes away because it wasn't immediately perfect. I didn't know at that time how to work through things. Anyway, nevertheless, I am happy where I am and where I'm moving forward. Yes. Church, don't make, and I'm reiterating, church, don't make good potential matches be missed. But I under, ooh, I understand that for some of the older people in the church, sometimes the perspective is, especially for those who are very passionate, vehemently opposed to gays in the church. I understand that sometimes part of the passion comes from the fact that you yourself are actually an example of somebody who you changed your direction, you know? Maybe you were with, when you were younger, you had the hots for and were really connecting and working things out with Jadelle, but next thing, and that is a really arbitrary name that I brought up. Jarrell. I'll say Jarrell. And, maybe when you were younger, you and Jarrell were really working things out and everything, but your church at that time came along and said, you know what? You need to change. And since there were no other examples of people making it work outside of the traditional heterosexual connection, you decided that you had to drop Jarrell and you put in the work to change who you were and make that change. And I don't want to, I'm sorry that things were like that at your time. And as an older millennial, I get it, because we're all working to make progress. The key is we have to make progress, you know? So, yeah, things weren't as good back then as they are now, but we have to look at the good things. Yeah, perhaps I don't want to say stuck in, ooh, goodness. Because I know of, suffice it to say, see the good in things being better now. Don't try to make it worse for the next generation because it wasn't where it should have been, where it could have been for you. I'm 40, you know, and anyway, yeah, I'm happy when I see the young 20 something gay connections married with kids, making it happen at a young age for life. Now, I'm grateful that I have we can do it, okay? I'm not saying dump your wife. I'm not saying dump your husband. I'm just saying be happy that progress is being made, and maybe, just maybe, you can find your place somewhere now in that realm of happiness. I don't know. Maybe you can work something out. I don't know. But it can. Don't add to the negativity in the world. Put positive out there. Put love out there. Let people live love. The hashtag Verse TV family, yes or no, is have you ever dated someone of a gender other than your most preferred gender? And my answer is yes. Nevertheless, I will say I did really like her. I did. And I also agree that it was best that we did not progress. You like that rhyme there? You like what I did? Best that we did not progress. All right. Comments? Can we move on to topic D? And I have a special surprise for y'all for topic D. All right, get ready. Topic D. Here we go. Like, share, subscribe again. Like, share, subscribe, and share again. And don't forget to click like, please. And thank you. Yes. Hashtag deep sharing at Dan Yomi. Hashtag VerseTV241D.
So I want to talk about talking stages, HIV and being gay. So recently I got a question, an anonymous question, where this person was basically asking whether they should disclose their HIV status to someone they've been in a talking stage with for over a year. Yeah, they're on medications, so they're undetectable. What else? Yeah, I think that's it. First off, you're in a talking stage over 1 year. Okay, I'm not one to judge, but I hope you're talking. I hope you're talking because, in my experience and, from the lot of stories I've heard, many people in talking stages do everything but talk. But if you're talking, if you're having those conversations, you're on the same page, then no one gets to decide how long it takes. I just wanted to put that out there. And then secondly, I shared the question on Twitter, so there's been some helpful, interesting takes. But I just wanted to add, my addition was going to be, I think it's about trust, right? Do you trust this person enough? Do they make you feel comfortable enough for you to be vulnerable around? Because I kind of feel like we live in a society where the burden, like the onus, is placed on marginalized people who have to, deal with stigma and oppression on a daily basis to disclose or to share. And sometimes we internalize that guilt and feel like, oh, we're deceiving people. Whether you're a gay person in a homophobic space and choosing not to disclose, or you're living with HIV and you feel like, oh my God, I have to share, when actually the spaces we find ourselves in are not safe and not comfortable. So I feel like if you feel this person is deserving of this information, go ahead. But if you feel like you don't trust them enough, if you feel again, then I don't think you should, in my opinion, right? You're not considering any harm. It's a long distance situation. Even if it wasn't, you're undetectable. Like there's almost no reason, especially when you're not ready. Now, don't get me wrong. Transparency is important in a relationship and all of that. But specific in this case, I think it's important we share information with people. We share vulnerability with people who are deserving. And if you're not sharing, I mean, it's been a year, right? If the reason you've not shared is because you don't trust them with that, then isn't that a bigger question though? Do you want to be with someone on the long term, like someone you don't trust? Do you know what I mean? So I think it's important you're not beating yourself up for not sharing when actually you've not been made safe or comfortable enough.
Kevin is here. Hey, y'all. All right. So, yes, and Kevin is actually going to share his answer first, but I did want to introduce he's here, y'all. Yes, in a slightly different capacity, but he will be here. He's here. Yes. That's a song that I love by ooh. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, so I'll just say, Kevin, take it away.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to that video, in in per se, after you wanna avoid it, in my personal opinion, just my opinion, um, like if you're in the phase where you're dealing with someone or involved with someone in the talking phase, it could be kind of iffy or even tricky at times because it's not set in stone where you stand. So yeah, it could be looked at well different ways, but I would say, in my opinion, the best thing to do is to let the other party make that decision. Whatever works for them, just go with it. That's
Oh, yeah. And I will say, as far as, and in so much as, no, I'm kidding. But yes, to everything that he said, I fully agree with him. And I will say, honestly, it's tough. And as someone who, oh, I don't know his status. I don't. So I'll say, as someone who also, and myself being also myself and the person who wrote to him, as somebody who also has a lifetime diagnosis, MS, I I remember when I was diagnosed, the doctor who diagnosed me, she said, honestly, and this is what she said. She said, honestly, they will find a cure for AIDS before they find a cure for MS. And that was a difficult thing to receive. And maybe it's due to lack of understanding on my part. I question when people talk about being undetectable. I've heard some worst case scenarios about that. And I question is being, but maybe being undetectable is like the modern day cured. I don't know. Because my MS doctor did say they would find a cure for AIDS before they find a cure for HIV, before they find a cure for MS. So maybe I'm just blinded by the fact that this is this undetectable thing is positive steps toward just being the same as being cured. So I don't know. And I definitely have positive friends, and I have dated in a serodiscordant relations, well, more than one, but serodiscordant relationships. Yes. And I think at the end of the day, people need to stop the stigmas. The stigmas need to stop. And I remember, speaking of stigma, and the stigma stopping applies to both HIV, AIDS, and MS, and anything. And I remember, and disability stigmas. I remember this dude that I was talking with online. He was beautiful, beautiful. He was a fireman, y'all. He was beautiful. And I remember he was like, I was telling him about my whole MS situation, you know, because that's my current cross to bear to tell people in advance my whole MS situation. And I was telling him about it. And I was like, yeah, you know, I currently use a walker, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, no, all of that's cool. You know, as long as you're able, and this is what he said, as long as you're able to get those legs in whatever position I put them in when I'm fucking you, then it's all good. It's all good. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we could go on a date somewhere. And he was like, no, I don't want to date you. I just want to fuck you. And that hurt. I'm not going to lie. But I don't know if undetectable is 100% equal to never transmittable. And maybe it is. Maybe it's 100% equal to never, ever, ever transmittable. But I want it to mean that. I do. I want it to mean that for people. And if that's the case, then yeah, he absolutely doesn't have to tell. But I think positive people, just like transgender people, I think the onus, the obligation is on you to tell things like that before sexual activity. Kind of like, us disabled people have to tell before we even meet you. That's our thing to have to tell. But you have a little more time. Ooh, I feel like I'm starting to sound bitter. No, I'm not trying to sound bitter, y'all. I'm not. But very quick question, Kevin, because I said I would throw in this really quick question. Do you agree that Kevin, basic complexity, that it is fair to say if you're positive, even if you're undetectable, you need to divulge that information before sex, just like trans people need to divulge that information before sex. And just like handicapped people need to divulge that information before meeting. What do you say? Really quick.
Personally, I agree. Yes, I personally think it should be divorced. Now, is there always divorce? No, but it should be.
Is well, of course. Yeah. Just like the MFer who made a friend of not a well, a guy that I dated and I really I had such high hopes. But he passed away. But who infected him with HIV? Yeah, people don't always tell. He thought that his boyfriend could be safe because they went together and got tested and they were both negative. And then his boyfriend stepped outside of the relationship, got HIV because he went raw in his cheating and brought HIV home to my friend. Anyway, I'm getting all emotional. Yeah, I understand that we, yes. I understand that in life we have enough struggles to deal with, and we don't have the we have enough self struggles in life that we don't take the time to learn about other people's struggles. We should not be obligated to learn about the ins and outs of other people's struggles. I get that. But ideally, we all need more empathy, not pity, but more empathy for our human siblings. And if we all have more empathy, that's we'll be headed in the right direction. And as far as it wouldn't, the dude who was talking to the other dude, it wouldn't even be a concern to be like, yeah, I'm undetectable. Because if all humanity had a little more empathy for our fellow human siblings. Anyway, the hashtag First TV family yes or no question is, do you feel that he needs to tell his partner of his undetectable status before they engage in any sex-ish activity? Yes or no? And you know what? I will go first, but then the same question to you. Well, how much time? Oh my gosh, we don't have time. So, really quickly, I'll say yes. Ooh, I said yes, but I explained it a little bit better in my answer, but we don't have time to go through all of that. Kevin, yes or no?
As far as do I think they should divorce?
Yep, divulge, tell his partner that he's undetectable.
Yeah, even
It-
if he's undetectable, I think he should still say something.
okay. I think that's just because we're both haters dealing with a disability that we have to divulge to people. So we're like, damn it, if I have to divulge it, then you have to too. No, but it's I don't think that's where we're coming from.
No.
I think it comes down to, again, what he was saying, as far as if you need to be on the level that you trust him that much. I'm sorry. A thing. Bitch. I didn't cuss. I'm sorry. But the apartment has bed bugs and they're horrible. So I just had to kill one. But yeah, I think he was saying you don't have to tell if you're just talking. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered this. If you're just talking, yes. If you're actually only talking and not doing other stuff yet, no, you don't have to tell him. Just like, in my opinion, and perhaps unpopular opinion, I don't think a trans person has to tell you that they're trans before you all have sex. I don't think so. But both of you, in my opinion, need to tell before sex of such things. You know? I don't know. And it's tough. Let's move on to topic E. Are you ready? Comments and kept. Oh, wait a minute. Oh my gosh. We actually have an actual comment. A couple of comments. Oh my gosh. Dion Jenkins. So, Dion Jenkins said yes. So he weighed in on that. And let's see this. He says, I'm not a hater. I simply feel that if you're looking to build with another, there should be open communication and a chance to make a choice.
Yes.
Period. That at the end of the sentence. All right. So now, are we ready for topic E? Yes. Let's go for it.
Hashtag Live Mic TV 241 at RNB Soul Music Lovers. Hashtag Verse TV 241E. Text. Showtime at the Apollo back in the 90s was truly a magical moment each and every time.
My first mistake was I wanted too much time. I had to have it morning, noon, and night. If I would have known then the things that I know now, I might not have lost the time I complain about. Don't waste your time like one that full of despair. Hold on to your love. You got to hold on. Hold on to your love, baby. Hold on to your love. You got to hold on. Hold on to your love. The art of playing games now. It's not the heart you break. It's about the love you make when it's heart's on fire.
Very quickly, I will say yes, it was always exceptional because artists knew to bring their raw talent A game to shows like Showtime at the Apollo. Absolutely. And I remember an artist who Kevin and I both love this artist. And I remember this artist actually performing their single. You hear I'm using gender non-specific pronouns, but performing their single and getting booed at Showtime at the Apollo. So that was really a thing. And my closing thought, right quick, is In Vogue is a gift. Through each decade, they are exceptional and beautiful, and In Vogue is a gift. Kevin?
Yeah, I would say, musically in the 90s, just flat out vocals across the board had to be like on point. Like the singers could really sing, like give you vocals like no other. And just once that I would point out real quick, In Vogue, amazing vocals. Uh, Destiny's Child, but even the original and the later version 4 and 3, is still amazing vocals.
Hmm.
And yeah.
We are both millennials, right? So Destiny's Child, of course. I I don't know if Destiny's Child was bringing vocals. If I would say Destiny's Child was bringing vocals like In Vogue,
No.
I think that was, and I think part of that comes from perhaps individually the lead singers of Destiny's Child could have compared, but Destiny's Child was not a well. When they became a trio, they were, I don't know. Eh, that just wasn't their type of music. Because yes, we did learn after that people like Latoya Luckett sings her butt off. Yes, she does. So Beyonce and Kelly Rowland, of course. Latavia, as I said last week, when she came on to be a rapper. Just so happened that she was able to pull up the contralto line very well because of her voice. So yes, that's dope. Michelle Williams. Yes, I don't know what Farrah was bringing, but Michelle Williams. So as a trio, yeah, maybe as a trio, I'd give that to them. But outs, I don't know. As a trio, yeah, all three of them were lead singers who harmonized together. Yes. Anyway, are we ready for topic F? We're running behind a little bit.
Uh,
Did you have anything else to say right quick?
no.
All right.
Hashtag Cerebral TV 241 at Women in Soul at Shades of Graves at The View ABC hashtag First TV 241F.
That's my boundary, is you can be yourself and you don't have to be who I think you should be or who I want you to be or anything that I think. Be your own self, fly your own flag, but just don't be rude and care about others.
Text early versus late people.
Okay, so if we need to be there by 9 and it takes 15 minutes to get there, what time do we need to leave? Okay, so we need to start getting ready at 8:45 so that we can leave by 9, then drive frantically while having a small panic attack, then apologize profusely for being late. No, we need to start getting ready at 8:15 so we can leave by 8:30. Good point. Then we'd have time to go get coffee, which is only 20 minutes out of the way. No, then we'll still be late. But, and this is key, we'd have coffee. Forget the coffee. We need to leave by, repeat after me, 8:30, 8:40, 8:30, 8:50, 8:30, 9:05. If we leave at 9:05, we'll be 20 minutes late. Not if I drive fast. Then we'll only be 18 minutes late. You know, silly me, I completely forgot we actually need to be there by 8:45. So in that case, we should probably leave by 8:55. Got it. Oh my god.
Text. Sarah Haynes reacts to Texas abortion ruling.
This example should be one of the easy ones because this actually also risked her future fertility, and she wants to grow her family more. And of course, the baby is going to pass, all those things. But it's also not a universal truth when life begins. One example is there are Jewish women suing in Kentucky because, according to Jewish law, a fetus is regarded as part of a mother's body until it begins to leave the womb. People aren't doing this lightly. Like, this is not something where they're sitting around engaging in this. Only 1% of abortions occur after 20 weeks. 93% occur in the first trimester. And I tend to think when people say, well, it's God's will, it's a miracle, it's life, if it's God's will on the way in, it should be God's will on the way out too. That brings into question, are you taking heart attack medication? Are you treating your cancer? Are you dying when he said you should? Because if we're going to argue about life in, let's be honest about life out. Don't go to the hospital if you're hurting because it was God's will. Like, I don't like the inconsistencies and the hypocrisy when people weaponize religion on this issue.
And that's
All right, hashtag Verse TV family. This has been week 242. I'm Aaron Mack, and I am here joined by my good friend, Kevin, aka CBC BKA, Basic Complexity. And I can be found at Aaron Mack at versetv.com. That's AARONMCK at VERSTEAV.com. And we're all over social media, hashtag VERSTEAV. And Kevin, where can we find you, friend?
Ooh. All right. So yeah, excuse me, I didn't even pull it up, but just going off of memory right now. I could be found definitely on versetv.com also, so I could be emailed at basiccomplexity@versetv.com. So that's BASICCOMPLEXITY at versetv.com.
Marvelous. All right. And FYI, you can also be found on TikTok at My Basic Complexity.
Thank you.
So, yes. Pow. All right, hashtag Verse TV family. This has been week 242. We will talk to you all later. Kevin, can you do the honors? The hashtag Verse TV piece, hashtag versetv.com. Stay blessed. All right.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Love is the answer. Hashtag Verse TV. I'm Aaron Mack.
Kevin, aka Basic Complexity.
Reset. Hashtag Verse TV family. Hashtag Verse TV. Hashtag Verse TV family. Reset. 242.